there, Vee Gang, it's your girl Vee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time coming through to my channel, I'd like to say thank you so much for coming through. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. And if you're a regular subby, welcome back. Welcome to yet another episode on Sunday Special. Today's day 5 of my filmathon, where I'll be filming for 30 days consecutively on YouTube. As you can tell from today's title, we're going to be talking about university experiences, and we have a special guest with us today. Her name is Desray, and I'm super excited for her to share her university experiences with you guys. So without further ado, let's get started. Subscribe! So Desray, could you please tell us a bit about what you studied and a little bit about your university life?
Hey Vee Gang, my name is Desray and I'm going to be sharing my university journey with you guys. I'm really honored that Vee asked me to join her beautiful channel today, and I hope that you guys can get, a valuable takeaway from our chat today. And yeah, let's get into it. So my university journey was interesting to say the least. I grew up wanting to be a doctor, and then I don't know, at some point I was reading a lot of books, and I don't know, at some point it changed and I really wanted to study film. And this was not, an easy conversation to have with my mother. And when I did tell it at the end of my high school, she was just like, listen, film is not a good industry to go into. There's no job, you're not guaranteed to get a job. So why don't you rather study something in the sciences that you can use as a backup plan? So I applied for a Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences from University of Pretoria, and wow, I think in hindsight, viewing the course as a backup plan, as something that I don't want to do, I think that really hampered the entire experience, because I hated it. I hated every day of going to campus. I remember there was a day where I got off. I was running late because I used to go from my flat to take a bus, the school bus, to go to campus. And I remember I was running late, and I was like, okay, I need to get to the bus quickly. And at some point I just stood in the middle of the road. I was like, you know what, this is not worth it. Screw it, I'm going back home. And I just went back home. I remember my roommate watching me walk in, like, shouldn't you be going to school? And I was like, actually, I cannot today. So that first year was really, it was difficult. Number one, I prioritized my social life completely. I partied hard, and I was coming from a relatively quiet town, and then now in the big city, big lights. University of Pretoria was a bit of a party school back then. There was the square. In the square there was just like clubs all around, so you just get lost in club after club after club after club. And I reveled in all of it. I enjoyed. I ate my youth cake, and I really prioritized that. And I was struggling in my academics. So interestingly enough, I was passing the science subjects. So I was passing physics, I was passing biology, I was passing chemistry, passing them brilliantly in the 70s, 80s. And then calculus, or first semester was pre-calculus. Did not understand it, did not know what was happening. I couldn't get it. For whatever reason, I just couldn't get it, And obviously that means that I needed to put in more work, but when I wasn't on campus, I was partying. So where was the work gonna come in? Didn't come in. Eventually passed all my other modules except calculus, and then I was academically excluded. This is at the end of the first semester. So I wrote an appeal, and it was approved, and basically they let me come in for the second semester. Now this, you'd think that at this point I'd be like, okay, second chance, I need to work harder. No, for me it was second chance, we need to party harder. Okay, I'm back in university, I don't have to go back home. That's all I was thinking, that now I'm back in university, don't have to go back home, so let's continue the partying. And I failed again. I failed calculus again. Passed everything else, failed calculus. And I remember even the person I was appealing with was saying, it just seems like you're not putting in enough work. And I just said, I hate calculus. You know, I didn't understand the lecture, right? I remember they had this deep accent that I couldn't hear at all. I hated the tutorials because the guys that were in charge of the tutorials were always like hitting on the pretty girls, just random things like that. And these were, according to me, valid excuses for me to just fail. So I ended up failing again, and I was academically excluded again. At this time, like, you get 2 appeals, you know. I mean, you get 1 appeal and then it's late. So then I went home with the goal of you know, maybe improving my maths, maybe doing something else. But you know, during the year, I just told my mom, like, listen, I really hated it, to be honest. I think I didn't put enough effort in because I hated every day of that course. So she let me go back and study a Bachelor of Arts in English Studies, which, you know, absolutely like 180. I enjoyed the 3 years that I did my BA in English Studies, and yeah, that's kind of, and I went back to the University of Pretoria. I did my BA in English Studies in 3 years, passed brilliantly, and yeah, you know, I think it says something, like, maybe as I said, maybe just because I hated it, I just didn't, you know, perform as well as I should have. But going back and doing something that I loved, I excelled.
Yo, sis, I'm so excited to hear more about this. So what was the hardest part about your whole university experience?
The hardest part of my university experience was failing. I was basically an A student up to the point where I failed my first calculus paper, you know, and it was odd. It was a horrible feeling. It was a horrible feeling. But most importantly, I think the biggest thing is that at some point I got used to the failing, and I think that's even worse, because at some point I just accepted that I'm going to get 40% in this paper, and it's fine. You know, who cares at this point? So I think that was the hardest part of university for me, just accepting failure. You know, not just failing, but also just accepting the failure was bad.
You know, it's so true that accepting failure can become a trait, a permanent trait in someone's life. I'm so happy that you were able to find your way out of that cycle. So, tell us a bit more about how you managed to balance out your social life and your studies.
So, as I said, my first year, there was no balance whatsoever. I remember, oh my god, Thursday used to be student night at all the clubs. So, you know, most of them, there was no entrance fee. There was deals on the drinks, you know, all of that. And so Thursday, everyone knew Thursday was party night for all the students, and there were too many Thursdays where we were out until clubs closed at 3. Then we'd go sit by McDonald's for hours. I would literally trudge back home at 5 a.m, get into the shower, and just get dressed. By 6, I have to be out to catch the bus to go to varsity. Okay. And obviously that day, like, I didn't hear anything. I was passing out in the chemistry lab. Okay, there's like compounds next to me, and I'm just passing out there. So that did not help at all. So literally no balance whatsoever. When I went back the second time, I think as I said, because of the fact that I was really interested in what was happening in the classes, I made sure that, number one, when I was writing my timetable, my Fridays were clear. At least Friday mornings were clear, you know. So if I do happen to go out on Thursday, I know I can sleep a bit and then, you know, have my classes in the afternoon. Another thing that I did was I always made sure that I finished my work in the lecture, if possible. If not, I would also take advantage of those breaks in between lectures to actually do my work. So most of the time, before I even got home at the end of the day, most of the day's work was completed. Then I also made sure that if I do go out on Thursday, I'm not going out on Friday. So unlike the first year where I was just like Friday to Sunday I was out, now I made sure that, you know, if I'm going to go out on Thursday, I'm going to go out on Friday. and have that Friday afternoon to just finish all my work so that Saturday I can actually enjoy my time with my friends. So I think I made my my academics a priority the second time around, and it really changed so much because I was able to enjoy time with my friends, but I also was passing really well, which made me feel so good on the inside, and it made me enjoy the experience a whole lot more.
Oh my lord, sis, you live the university life. How do you think these experiences changed you as an individual?
The biggest thing for me is that I think as many excuses as I throw at that first year being so bad, the biggest thing is it needed me to put in effort. It needed me to work hard to understand calculus and to understand what was happening. But I honestly chose not to, and I just excused it away, like, you know, I don't understand the lecturer, I don't understand what's happening, and that's that, and I hate the subject, and I hate the course, so it doesn't matter. But in all honesty, I needed to put in work. Whereas at the end of my university career, the last semester before I was done, I actually got a job, and a permanent job. So I obviously told them that I was still studying, but they were like, okay, can you make it work? And I only had 2 modules left, so I was just like, you know what, I'm going to make it work. So I used to travel from Pretoria to Johannesburg, which is about a 40-minute drive, in traffic, you know. So in the morning, there were some mornings where I'd go to work, and then in the afternoon come back and attend my lectures. There were some days where I'd attend my lectures first and then drive in the morning. And then remember, after all of this, I had to, you know, go back home and actually do the work that I had from the class. Another thing, on days that I just couldn't make it work, my then boyfriend, now husband, would actually attend the lectures for me and just record everything, and then I'd have to still get home and review everything. Another thing is that the job that I was hired for was very intense. I was basically working Monday to Sunday because I was working as a promoter manager, and you know, managed to work up the ranks to an account manager, but I was in charge of the promoters. So during the week I was working on you know, getting everyone trained and ready. Then Saturday and Sunday was when we actually the campaigns went live. So now I had to make sure everyone was at the right places. They were, you know, communicating with the client to make sure everyone was fine. So the Saturday and Sunday was when I was actually working the hardest, you know, making sure that I'm communicating with all the relevant parties to make sure everything's fine. And then after all of that, I still had to then go and watch the recordings that my husband had gotten me for the lectures. So I put in the work. So because like at the end I knew that I could put in the work, it made me just realize that, you know what, I should have put in the work at the beginning as well. So I think that's the one thing that changed, and I think that the hard work that I put in then really has translated throughout what I'm doing right now.
That is the actual reality about life. It is so true that if you sit down, put work and effort into something and prioritize what really matters, you will truly get results in the end. What would you like to say to someone who's either in university right now or preparing to go to university?
If you're preparing for university, I would say, you know, make sure that you opt for a degree that you enjoy or are willing to put in effort. Like, make sure that the reason for doing that course is that it's something that is strong enough to keep you going when it gets tough, because university is tough. I don't know if you watched Vee's last video, but absolutely, university is difficult. Okay, you have to put in work, and you have to put in work while having all the freedom that you never had in high school. So now you have all the freedom, and you have to, you know, have the discipline to actually make university work. Okay, so at least make sure that your reason for doing that course is strong enough to keep pushing you to put in all the work. And another thing is, I would say, if you are preparing for university, you're still looking for you know, a degree to study, look at what the industries that are emerging internationally, not just in whatever country you're in. Look at whatever industries are emerging internationally, so that you can get a job anywhere in the world. You know, the world is your oyster. Make sure that you are looking at it on a global perspective. And also, because the world is changing, you want to make sure that, you know, you're there changing with it. If you are already in university, my biggest piece of advice would be to look for internships or part-time jobs, especially if the course allows. Okay, if the course doesn't allow, just, if the course load is just on your shoulders and you can't do it, then that's fine. But there are many benefits of actually having a part-time job or an internship. If you're in the industry that deals with a lot of internships, there are so many connections that you can make that will really help you get a job later. My friend, actually, she was in marketing, and while she was studying, she did a lot of internships. And so when the time came to work, she had all these connections, people that you could just call up and say, listen, I'm looking for a job, and they were like, we've got you, I'll let you know. Connections are everything. And honestly, working through your study time is the best way for you to actually make those connections. And even a part-time job, you never, obviously there's a bit of coin that comes in, so getting a bit of money is always good. But the biggest thing is that you can actually meet a lot of people that can actually help you later. Connections are everything. Okay, my husband studied a Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics, and he's actually now working in a bank in credit. Polar opposites, but how he found the job because we were tutoring for a family, and the father had a connection at the bank. And as soon as my husband got done with school, it's just like, here's an in, and he's then gotten promoted like several times in the job. So that was just a connection, Even with me, I was a promoter myself, and so then the company that I was working for, they said they're looking for a promoter manager. So I was like, okay, I am putting my hand up, and I got the job, and then I kept working up until I became account manager. So that was a connection that I made that helped me after school. Another thing is also, don't box yourself in. Okay, don't box yourself into whatever your course is. I did English studies, and with English studies, basically you can become a copywriter, copy editor, which really it's a fruitful industry, because you'll always need copy editing. You always, whenever you see an ad, there's someone who sat and made sure that the words make sense, that made sure that they're speaking the right terminology. There's I could have gone into editing, where it's just editing the text from academic text to fiction stories, whatever. So it's an industry that definitely will not die. But with the knowledge that I got from that, I was able to really just flourish at my marketing job. And so I'm glad that I didn't go into copy editing, and I managed to get the job in marketing, and I learned so much that has then helped me with the companies that I now own. I do my own website, my own websites, because of the people that I was exposed to. They were so creative that I learned so much from them, and I was able to now take what I learned to make it fruitful in another industry. So that's what I'm saying. So never ever box yourself in and just say, okay, this is all I can be. Look at what else you can, what other industry you can go into with the knowledge that you get from your university degree. So yeah, that's my piece of advice. I hope I didn't ramble too much. Thank you so much to Vee once again for letting me be a part of this, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye.
Well, thank you so much, Desray, for coming through to my channel today. I truly appreciate you. I truly appreciate this. Your story has inspired so many people. I learned so much from just hearing your story. If I work hard, if I put effort into something, I would definitely get the desired results. I hope you learned something as well, Vee Gang. Desray has a YouTube channel. Make sure to check it out. She has amazing content. You will not be disappointed. I will link her YouTube channel down in the description box so you guys can check it out. Thank you so much for coming through to my channel today. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you tomorrow in day 6 of my 30-day filmathon. Mwah! God bless you. Bye.